Welcome everybody to our coverage of IAE 2954. Today, I believe this is the 7th day. This is the day that we're covering Drake Interplanetary, which, if you know me, then you know that I'm not really that into Drake. I fall heavily on the Origin side of the Origin Drake war. That's okay. I will cover these completely unbiased. Don't worry. I'm not really that much of a hater, but it's just not my type of ship. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started, shall we? Drake is actually a pretty popular brand in the game. They make quite a few really efficient chips for the price. One of the main popular ones that many players of the game typically buy in their progression of chips is the Cuddy Black. So most people know about Drake. And they even added a proper starter ship, the Cutter. So we should see some pretty good ships on display today. Nope, here's a little visitor to the expo. And there is a Cutlass right now. Oh, right, and it looks like the first thing that we're seeing here is the Cutters, and then the Caterpillar. Alright, let's start with this color. This is the default Cutter. Now this is what you get as a starter ship from Drake. Not super powerful with the guns, but again it's a starter ship. The fact that the engines can rotate is actually a really great feature. VTOL will be important someday if you want to hover in one spot in midair. Otherwise your thrusters will overheat. So the fact that you can turn the main thrusters directly down is actually good for maintaining a hovering position. So we have this cargo space here, which can also double for a vehicle space. It's actually pretty decent. I have to say, one of the first things I liked about this ship when I first saw it was these cool little windows here. They don't seem like much, but they're enough that it adds a real little bit of ambiance here. I love the tint on them, they just work really well. So, you know, a lot of manufacturers have full-on covers for their components. Not this one. There's literally these little bars that are just securing these components in place. But as you move forward, you'll see that there's more underneath the eye. We actually have a full bed here, and this is the bathroom. Very industrial sort of feeling. Drake doesn't waste anything on aesthetics, you could say. Not that I would call it a waste personally, but some people would. I mean, imagine showering in this sort of situation. It feels very weird to try to shower or have a comfortable time here. But I mean, there are a lot of players who just don't care and would just appreciate it. I think this is either storage or it's supposed to be a refrigerator someday, but I think it's just storage. It might even be a locker, like a suit locker. Even more hardware in here, including like a weapon rack. think this holds one heavy weapon, maybe two. But judging from this one, I think it just holds one heavy weapon and one rifle, and then you get two sidearms or multi-tools. Now the cockpit is kind of interesting because you get raised up into place. And beyond that, I mean, yeah, you have all these old-looking buttons and switches and things. I mean, look at this lever too. This is interesting. But what's really cool is you actually have a blast shield, which doesn't want to do anything right now. I think that's the right lever for it. Yeah, it's just not actually activating. So anyway, normally a blast shield comes and covers the side windows here. This, and then also this other side. And that kind of gives you a little bit more side protection from ballistics, I think. Especially, like let's say ground ballistics. It's actually possible to shoot somebody in their cockpit if they're landed with like a ballistic rifle. So that gives you a bit of coverage and protection. Alright, now there's two other versions of the cutter. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one. The Cutter Rambler. Now I believe, wait, let's double check. So they say expedition, but basically they reduce the cargo space and then they give you a little bit nicer living area. Let's take a look at that. Oh yeah, look how short this is. So if your priority is a little bit more creature comforts, this might be for you. You can see there's actually a place to sit, a proper kitchen area. This is a suit locker for sure. Yeah. So if you need like the full complement of stuff, then you're looking for the Rambler. But you give up some of the cargo space, of course. Can we manually jump up here? Yeah, we can. That doesn't want to keep us up here. Alright, let's quickly run over to this one. I believe this one over here is a Pathfinder variant. I think there's a little sensor thing on top. Yeah. The Scout. The Cutter Scout. So if you want your little shuttlecraft, because that's all it really is, it's a shuttlecraft. If you want your shuttlecraft to have some additional usefulness, you might pick up this version with the enhanced sensor technology. It has an engineering station, nice. Yeah, this part seems the same. But I think it's the same in here too. So it's really all the same, but that little antenna on top gives you a little bit better sensors. So if that's what you're looking for, Drake has you covered in this regard. Now here, we have a very popular ship. This is a dedicated cargo ship. This is the Caterpillar. And you can kind of realize why it's called the Caterpillar, because it's so long with its many feet. And somebody has taken the liberty of opening all the cargo bays for us. Now, these cargo bays, while they are cargo bays, doesn't mean they have to stay cargo bays. The idea is that this is supposed to be a modular ship, and even the front here you can see opens up and is a little cargo area. These things are little sensors, by the way. They don't do anything. But it's actually kind of easy to get lost on this ship, I feel. but it does have a lot of really interesting features. Now, this over here is basically the cockpit of the ship, and you can see there's a tractor beam on the front here with a couple guns. But if you notice, it's sort of its own sort of thing with its little attachment here. And that's because the design of the ship is such that in an emergency, you can basically disengage the heavy part of the ship and then just escape on this little command module with its own rockets there, you see? So it's a weird sort of double ship, if you will. Now, continuing with the Drake aesthetic, you can see just how industrial and, well, non-aesthetic the rest of the ship is. This is an old ship, so it doesn't really have proper component access. We need to fix that someday. This is where you're going to find engineering. More spaces for components. Power plant access, etc. And then that goes forward. Wait. I think this connects with the rest of the ship over here. It's easy to get lost in here. So we're gonna go back down first. We continue our tour from the bottom level. So this is the bottom turret. You get in this and it puts you down and you have access to some guns. And here's a staircase that goes up. Kind of weird, you don't see a lot of ships with a staircase, but it's also nice. I kind of wish the Polaris had a staircase. So while we stay down below first though, let's go back this way. Habitation access. So here's where you sit around and there's actually beds here, which is kind of weird, right next to the the lunch table, and the toilet here is really kind of exposed. I think this opens and closes, maybe? Maybe not. That's pretty grim. So yeah, like I say, they definitely sacrifice creature comforts. And then you come through to these cargo modules, and each of these are identical, as you can see here. And what's neat about these is that there's also these upper catwalk. So when your cargo space is totally full of cargo, which you could also fill it with some small vehicles, like some Furies. Anyway, you can kind of go across very easily up above if it's all full. This year's Drake Interplanetary lineup shows that all choices made for some. And then there's the front space. And then this is how you reach the front turret. What's also neat is from up here you can open and close these doors. You know, and it says actually starboard and port, so you can close the sides that you want. So over there it's starboard, so we'll close that one. And then behind us is port. Now I believe that these lower doors, let's go to the next room again. I believe they're meant to actually act as elevators as well and go down to the ground, but that functionality hasn't really been finished yet. Alright, let's go back this way, and now let's go up into the upper area of the ship, but with some... Oh, here's a gun rack, by the way. Right by the elevator. Let's go take the staircase. I feel like that's a normal way to go up here. Then you reach this confusing center hallway. We actually have an interesting sort of little viewing station on the side here. This looks like it's just gonna be an engineering panel. Which I have to say, if you had to be just an engineer monitoring things, this is not a bad spot to be with all the cool windows. And then maybe you can look around and warn people of things that you notice. And this is the way that connects back to the engineering. It looks like there's also a server room. I think this is where they'll put the avionic computers. Yeah, and then that's the power area that we would come from. I don't know why they had to separate these rooms. This doesn't really seem like there's anything in this room, but enough, it may actually be useful someday because with ship fires and stuff, you'll want to be able to isolate fires and help put them out. You don't want to go crazy throughout your ship. So here is the command module, and you can see there's a bit of separation here. And now we're in basically what I would call like a separate ship almost. Oh, look, there's the docking port up top. But currently, you cannot separate the ship from the base, but someday you will be able to. So anyway, pilot and co-pilot chairs. And then there's actually 2 more chairs back here, which is kind of interesting. You don't really need those as far as I understand, but why not? And then down below, interestingly, they actually have some living quarters for this emergency side ship. Beds, eating area. And now this, I believe, is the tractor beam console. And then you'll use this to move boxes conveniently from the ground into your cargo spots. But this is a work in progress. This is not done as far as I understand. But super industrial. Oh, by the way, here's some more gun racks hidden away just in case you need them. But yeah, people joke about, just fixing a Drake with duct tape. Or as people like to call it, Drake tape. Well, here's the docking port hatch. And then this goes into the modules as we looked at. So, it's not that bad of a ship, but you can get a bit lost in the back here. It's kind of a maze. Alright, now it looks like the sign holds are open, so let's just go over here. Hopefully the map will guide us. Oh, right. So it looks like we chose wisely because there's nothing on the other side of the hall. No, and we need to go underneath as well. Okay, let's go underneath then. That's what we usually do each time, right? But yeah, the cutters are actually pretty popular as a starter ship. Pretty much do all of the basic things that you need. And for a low price. So these are very popular, even though I don't really prefer them. These are Drake's hover quad, if you will. Basically a hover bike, but it does have guns on it. And weirdly, they featured this rear seat on the back. What if it'll let us get on the rear? Now this doesn't want to allow us. But usually you sit backwards if you're on the Firefly as the co-pilot or the passenger, which is kind of weird. Alright, now this thing, don't want to be mean, but this thing is almost completely useless. Now you can put boxes on the side here, so like if you were to take off like your helmet, you can put that kind of size box on here. Little equipment pieces. It's meant to store some kind of a box. I think in here it's supposed to fit a box. And then also the front here, these things come forward, these little things here, almost kind of like a forklift. But if you consider that one SCU and then maybe one in the back, that's pretty darn small for transport. Really doesn't carry much. Let's see if we can put those teeth forward or not. No, doesn't want to. What is interesting is that this thing can fully turn 360 without having to move forward or backward. It can just literally turn on a dime, like in its own spot. So that is a neat feature, but again, you're not going to be carrying much of this thing, and it doesn't seem to have really much of a purpose in my mind. Okay, let's see what we got for the display hall. I think we're gonna see the Kraken. Is that the Kraken? Oh no, this is the Ironclad. So there's two versions of the Ironclad in development. They're not in game yet, hence why we see a hologram here. This is just a standard Ironclad, I believe. So it's basically a big cargo space, and this top piece actually opens up so you could load stuff easily from above, or the front will open like a ramp, and again it can hold cargo or vehicles. And then the bridge is up top, and then it's got some extra storage in the inside. I think it's got like kind of a secure storage room. But it's basically just a large, square container ship. And it seems to also feature that kind of side emergency escape pod thingy. The combat version, by the way, it has extra turrets and things, less internal space, but at the back of the cargo space, there is a vehicle workshop area for repairing vehicles. And then here is what every Drake lover wishes was in the game. This is the Kraken. Now there's two variants of the Kraken. I can't exactly tell you the difference, except it changes some things on the inside, and I think one is meant to be like a trading ship, and the other one is just more cargo space or something. We can't really see the top here, but if we use our third-person camera, we can kind of get more of a view. And this is basically like a carrier, like an aircraft carrier. So you see there's different individual pads for keeping your different fighters and vessels there. But then also on either side we have these docking ports And, um, I mean, these areas open up for sure, but I believe it has a little hangar space too. Yeah. Yeah, so see how these are open here? These are basically hangar spots as well for internal space. So this thing can hold a lot of different ships on it. This is a gigantic capital ship, and you won't want to be taking this thing out solo. Otherwise, it's a giant iron coffin. But if you have a big org and everybody wants to bring their own cool ships and have their own, you know, fighter battles and whatever, you cannot do better than this in the game. I'm sad to say, as a non-Drake lover. You know, there's no other real alternatives to this unless you consider the Idris, which just has a long internal hangar. But you don't find any other ship that has this sort of interesting flight deck exterior. And it is quite unique and interesting that way. Credit where credit is due, you know? Alright, and as we exit here, we're gonna need to grab a drink on the way to the next hall. As we had talked about before, if your nutrition reaches a really low level, like say below 9%, you will begin to slowly see separation of colors in your vision. But we're not going to make this a medical teaching moment. As much as this is kind of silly to see all this trash here, I kind of approve because I chose the best drink.
Good purchase.
I'm not a big fan of Gatorade in real life, except for the blue one. That's kind of nice. But that being said, it works really great for health stats in game. Otherwise, I'd probably like this pink soda or this tea. But anyway, go for the synergy. Highly worth it. Alright, let's see what we have in the side hall. I think we're gonna see some fighters, maybe? Because there's the Buccaneer, and then there's also the data running ship. So the Herald, that's a data running ship. Here's the Buccaneer, and then there is the Corsair. Alright, let's start with the Buccaneer. So, a Buccaneer is a medium fighter, as far as I understand. But it packs a big punch because it's got a large size 4 weapon on the top, I believe. And then it's got 2 size 3s and then a couple maybe size 2s on the wings. So it's pretty good damage overall, but it's sort of a fast in one direction sort of ship where, you know, you go do a direct attack run, you know? But if you see somebody flying one of these, they can actually do some pretty decent damage, so you better take care of them. Here's what it looks like. You know, you get a lot of classic lines in terms of the internal structure. But it's not for me, it's not my type of ship. Okay, let's go take a look at the Herald over here for a second. Now, this is bigger than it looks, I would say. When you put this next to the thing, it's just how big this rear is and how big these engines are. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then it has these really tiny, stubby little wings. It makes me think of like a T-Rex, you know, with like these tiny little arms, tiny little wings. So this ship is actually meant to be a data running ship, which is a gameplay that's not in the game yet. As this ladder access. So here's sort of like the data running computer. Bed for one only. Sink and bathroom with no coverage. You do have a gun rack. But overall, not really much to this ship, honestly. So until we have the proper data running gameplay, this is nothing more than a really fast shuttle. And it is fast in terms of going in one direction, with its huge engine in the back there. I think it has one of the highest top speeds. But it's also a very old ship, so again, there's no access to any components on the ship. And that's the same on the Buccaneer there. But not the case with this one over here, the Corsair. So the Corsair, when you fly it, these wings come down. Got some pretty serious guns on this ship, especially up front. But it does have these side weapons, which are kind of interesting. They can't fire straight forward. Oh, and there's an elevator to get in, but we'll kick the ramp in the back. Also, you'll notice here that this is actually two wings. So when it's in flight, it has an asymmetrical look to it. One wing is down, one is sort of up in kind of like an angle, like a triangle. And then the other one is just a long wing. So if you're really into the asymmetrical layout, this could be a ship for you. But honestly, to me, this ship is nothing more than a long-range pirate ship. Drake are kind of like the pirates. I mean, pirates often use Drake ships, and it just sort of makes sense. Here's some components, by the way. Looks like they didn't even bother to put any kind of covering on front of them. That's Drake style for you. But pretty big space here for vehicles, so a lot of people like this for transporting vehicles and cargo. A really big entranceway here. And I said it's a long-range pirate ship, and that's because it actually is designed for very long range. It has really good fuel. Use the weapon racks, the suit lockers. And then this is where you would go aboard another ship if you dock. This looks like it's just storage here. Here's the kitchen. Not the worst kitchen among all the Drake ships. But again, bathroom right next to the kitchen. I mean, that's what you get with a Drake. But at least you can close the door on this one. And then it has these various bunk rooms. Actually, well, I'd say bunk rooms, but it's just a single bed. And then each person has their wool suit locker. And then I believe, I think it says storage, but we can't access it because it's a display ship, but people can store their little items down there if they really want. These are all the same. Here's an elevator, and what's interesting about the elevator is that, and this is a feature I would like to see on more ships. First of all, it's got these weird levers, which are kind of funny. But what I want to see is more ships with roof access. This is a cool feature, okay? If there's one feature that Drake has done that I actually like that I want to see on other ships, it's this. An elevator that goes all the way to the roof so that you can get to the top. This is useful not only just for having a fun time looking around, but to actually repair your ship with a repair tool, patch up holes. That actually has some good usefulness. And maybe if you're fighting something with cover or something, you could fight with a gun from up here and use your wings as like cover or something. I don't know, but I see just different opportunities for this, so I wish I had this on more ships. Alright, here, we come to a little spot with the turrets. These are the side turrets. Let's get at one of these for a second. So we get put right into it. We can't move it around because it is a powered sort of seat. It's got, I don't know, what would you call it? Power steering? But you cannot go forward, and actually the area that you can aim with here is not very good. So that's one of the biggest complaints that owners of the ship have, is that these little side turrets are not very good. And even flying and fighting forward, there's really a lot of bad angles on the ship, so if you're being attacked by a bunch of fighters, it's really difficult. Now here's one other bed. It's the same as the other one, except it feels more cramped in here. More component access. So this one actually has a door for some reason. Gives the pilot seat, which is kind of weird, because there's actually a functional MFD down here. This functions just like the rest of them, but it's on the floor, which is just weird. But I mean, not weird given that it's Drake. This is the Drake way. It does have an animated fan here, which is kind of cool, but at the same time, that's kind of uncool compared to just having proper AC, you know? And then this one is actually the gun underneath the ship. So when we were outside, there was 4 guns here, right? And you see the top 2 are the pilot, I believe, and the bottom 2 are the co-pilot, maybe? It's either, wait a minute, it's either that or maybe the co-pilot here does the missiles. It's something like that. Because this doesn't seem very, doesn't seem like these guns really turn around much. I do have a feeling these are for just the pilot. And there are guns on the wings. And missiles and things.
I love going to shows like this.
But it's really kind of a poorly designed ship in my opinion. It's meant to be an NPC that you shoot down. Again, in my opinion. But it's just like a long-range cargo ship, or in what I would call it, a pirate ship. Long-range pirate ship. No. But if you're just looking for a longer range ship with that cargo space and some decent guns on it, which again are pilot controlled, you could go worse. I mean, it could be worse than this. But just be careful, because like I say, it's not a very like fast and maneuverable ship, and there's a lot of bad angles on this ship, so you can easily get overwhelmed if you're not with a bunch of people. And we don't want to see you get overwhelmed.
Hi. Let me know if there's anything I can help you with.
Alright, looks like we're heading toward the last but not least ones. and that is the Cutlass series. So as I was explaining earlier at the beginning, the Cutlass series is actually a very popular series of ships for beginner players. Mainly because they don't cost too much, and they provide you a lot of utility for the value. A lot of utility for the cost. So here's the standard Cutlass Black. This is one of the ships that many new players eventually upgrade to. It's got that engine which goes straight down if you need it to, if you want to hover. Or for takeoff and landing, you could say. So the back here does have a nice ramp for a vehicle. And while it's kind of tight in this space here, it has all the space up here as well. These are completely open closable shutters. This makes it really convenient potentially for putting cargo into your ship or dumping cargo out or jumping out of your ship quickly. Also in the back here, this is really kind of clever. They have these jump seats. It is more on this side as well. So you have jump seats for your passengers if you're not taking cargo. There are gun racks. There's 2 beds, a tray on top, and nothing else. I think these are meant to be storage right here, but there's no bathroom, there's no kitchen, there's no nothing else. So this is basically just a, get stuff done sort of ship. And you have 2 seats. You got the pilot and the co-pilot. Now what's interesting is the co-pilot actually rides higher. But you get this interesting view. Both these seats are rides up, I believe. Yep. And because it rises up, you actually have a decent view looking straight down here. That is actually an advantage for the ship. And you have a lot of MFDs and such. Overall, it's really not a bad ship for getting things done, especially running a little bit of cargo, boxes, moving vehicles. It's just a really good get things done sort of ship. And you can always just jump out the side, which is kind of fun. So here we have the Cutlass Red. This is a medical variant. Now they've currently tweaked medical so that you don't really bleed out. If you are bleeding, you can do a little heal and it should stop the bleeding. But originally you could bleed out constantly, and I want them actually to go back to that. The whole point of ships like this are for healing low tier injuries or for stabilizing somebody, meaning like if somebody is bleeding out constantly and you're just basically using your med gun to just keep them alive as you get back to the ship. A ship like this should allow them to lie down and then constantly get the healing that they need so that you can take them to a hospital or somewhere that they can get the proper treatment that they need. But the way that medical works in game right now is that these are really respawn beds. So if you have this, you can respawn with your people right on location. And you can heal Cure 3 injuries, which is, again, the lowest tier of injury. Couple of beds. You have these more proper looking docking colors. So you could potentially dock with a ship that has proper medical facilities. Here we have the gun racks, 2 more beds. And then now we don't have the turret, but instead we actually have a medical station. Or I should say the bathroom station. And here's a shower. This is probably the absolute worst showerhead. But hey, it's a Drake. And this is the same over here, same cockpit. The nice thing about some of these emergency ships, including this one, is that if you turn on the lights, you'll actually get flashing emergency lights. And then it actually looks like an ambulance, which is, again, what the whole point of the ship is, basically. So we're going to go to these other cutlasses over here first. So here we have the police model. So if we have the emergency hospital version there, we have the emergency police car one over here. This one also has flashing lights, and they're blue and red, like a police officer. And all of these cutlasses are pretty old, so they don't have any kind of component access. They need to be redone. These are early stage prisoner transport pods. And you can see it's designed so you'd hold quite a few prisoners here. But this has to all be redone, so we'll see what it ends up being or how much it can hold in the future. But that's the whole point of it, is that you can go arrest people and then put them in a pod. And come forward here, same sort of thing with the turret. But one difference here is then look at this. The glass is actually different. So if we get into the pilot seat, we actually have a different view here. Less obstructed. For when you need to arrest people who are obstructing justice. So if there's a nicer, quote-unquote, nicer version of the Cutlass, it's probably this one. Now here, we have an abomination, okay? This is called the Cutty Steel. Oh, it's Cutlass Steel, but in-game, we all refer to the Cutlasses as Cutties. So this is the Cutty Steel, with its steel paint job here, or lack of paint job. And what do we have here? 1 million drop seats. I mean, what is it, 6 and 12 on the other side? And then another 6 over here, so that's 18. 18 souls, plus turret, same 2 orbital beds, gun racks. Basically, the idea of this is, of course, to be a dropship, and there's these guns here on the sides. I don't think we're able to access them because, you know, it is a display ship. Then maybe. Oh yeah, here we go. So yeah, these are like really low-level weapons. Oop, it just launched me out of there. That's Drake for you. But no, that's not a feature. But they're very low caliber guns here. But good for maybe clearing some enemies that are outside.
Hi, welcome.
To shoot them down. But this is a really bad ship, and part of the reason people say that is these ships are not all that durable, all that strong. To commit 18 people plus, let's say, 2 more, so 20 people to one ship of a size like this is insane. Like, everybody could be gone in 1 second. So it's the Cutlass Steel, but people think of it more like the Cutlass Coffin, or Steel Coffin. This is just a bad day waiting to happen. I'd rather put all those 20 people on a Polaris than put them in a tiny little ship like this, waiting to die. Now we have the final ship of the day. This is actually a very useful ship. This isn't replaced by any other manufacturers in game right now. This is a starter salvage ship. These are salvage scraping beams that get the material from the outside of the hull. And then when you're done, these inside areas all energize, and then you deconstruct the central material of the ship. And then what happens to all that material, you ask? Well, I'm glad that you asked. So, you come back here, and this is where it basically is collecting all the material, and it dumps them out as boxes. Literally, this opens, pushes out the box, great, and then if you're solo, then you need to get out of the pilot seat, come down here, move the box to one of these cargo grids, and that way it has space for the next box to come out. These salvage ships also have the capability to use your salvage to instead create a multi-tool, and also create a tractor beam attachment for your multi-tool, which is incredibly useful. So if you're salvaging and you realize, oh wait, I don't have the materials to move my boxes, well, no problem. You can literally make the tractor beam tool that you need on the fly. It has a component access here. This is a modern ship, so it has all the important details like that. But it's a very cramped ship. So we come up here, you have your gun rack, you have your armor storage, you have some place to have some kind of food of some kind, you have your bed, there's components everywhere, and you have a tiny little bathroom. Doesn't have a shower for such a small bathroom, but this is so cramped. Could you imagine having to like go underneath this little shower? That would not be fun at all. That being said, from the pilot seat you actually have a pretty decent view. Able to see what you're working on very easily, with lots of MFDs and whatnot. And again, able to look straight down, which is really nice for landing. And yeah, you use these beams to deconstruct things. And so this view is actually excellent for the type of work that you're looking to do. So, as I said before, there really isn't any manufacturer that can counter this ship, so this is a staple of salvage. 100%. Now what's neat is it also has a side door here, so you can actually exit the ship from the side here and walk along these if you want for some fun or do some repairs. And there's a ladder to go down here, but it's more fun to try to go over here. And I believe it's possible to like climb along the ship. I didn't make it, but it is possible to get all the way to the top. So that's actually a really kind of fun and cool little extra entrance. Convenient if you want quick and easy access to the bridge, or the cockpit I should call it, for the ship. One other little neat detail of the ship is that it actually has VTOL engines. I don't think we're going to really see it, but I believe either here or maybe around here there's like panels that open up, and there are actually engines straight underneath this, which allow it to have a really good VTOL capability. And that's really useful because if you're salvaging a ship that's in the atmosphere, maybe it crashed on the ground, you'll want to enable those for really good efficiency for flying around. And that's pretty much Drake. Drake is just, one of those industrial brands that is no nonsense, does hard work. If you're looking for that industrial look, If you're looking to save a buck, if you actually like all that exposed wires and things, then Drake is for you. Um, Also, many people compare this manufacturer to some of the ships that you see in the TV show The Expanse, and it's definitely true. You definitely get that Drake vibe if you watch the TV show. So if you're looking for that, if you haven't seen that show, maybe check it out. It's a bit weird, but there's a lot of really great space moments in that show, and you really get a sense of the real hardcore space experience. So once again, if you're just tuning in, IAE is still ongoing, and if you haven't tried the game out, highly recommend that you do. You can fly for free right now. Just go to the website, download the game, and log in and try out the game. And any of these ships that you might want to try, you might say, oh, this looks really good and I want to try out salvaging. Just come here, hold F, and you'll rent the ship for free for 2 days. Any ship that you want that's on display. You can fully enjoy them, try them out, see if it works for you, see if you want to buy that ship or want to earn your way toward that ship. And there's just really no reason not to try it. If you are going to go ahead and try out the game, I recommend that you use my referral code there at the bottom of the screen. It'll give you more money in game, both now and also when the game formally launches with 1.0. But yeah, there's really no reason not to try it. Just jump in, see if the game is for you, and also see if your computer can handle it, because this is a pretty intense game in terms of computing requirements. Anyway, thank you for joining us. If you'd like to catch us live, we stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 12 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. And we'd love to have you there. The streams are completely chill, relaxed, no pressure. We'll answer any questions for you. Just come hang out and have a good time. Alright everybody, with that I'm gonna say goodnight, and we'll see you tomorrow for, I think it's Origin Day. That'll be a good day. Alright, good night everyone.